So it's just gone midday, and it's very unclear whether this is going to be an interesting one or it's just going to be two different sets of people doing their own stuff. So what we've got on the left hand side here at the art gallery is the usual pro-Palestine Saturday march that is slowly coming together. In the middle here we've got a bunch of police producing a cordon. And over here we have got Parents Against Grooming UK, who have decided to come to Leeds today. They were going to be outside the town hall, which is directly behind. And you can see it's all boarded off, and it has been for the past 2 years. So they've ended up right outside the library, the public library. And I was just talking to the guy with the red pips. Where's he gone? Not that one. Oh, there he is. He's got his back to me here. The guy with his back to us there with the red pips. I was just having a chat with him. He was requesting I don't cause him any trouble today. I said it depends how much crap the police do. So he asked me, so what's happening here today? What do you think is going to happen? And my answer is, I don't think anything's going to happen. I think somebody's made up a load of stuff that means that they require or have allocated a load of police. Because usually Parents Against Grooming UK is usually done in a place where often there is a different patriot protest or march going on. And so there ends up with lots and lots, big massive crowds of stand up to racism and socialist worker and anti well, it's all of the things that don't like anything that is not exactly what they think. But there's none of that today. I don't think there's any of that today. I've not seen anything in the media suggesting that there will be a counter in any way to Parents Against Grooming UK. And when they start their stuff, we'll go down there and see what they're saying. Essentially it is local people giving their testimonies about what happened to them while they were growing up, how they were groomed. And I imagine this lot will just get on with their stuff. And I got a feeling there won't be an interaction between the two, because frankly there's no reason for an interaction between the two. But you never know. And of course, all of the interesting stuff this week is going on in Liverpool. And it's, yeah, it'd take a lot to get me to go to bloody Liverpool. Been there once doing this stuff. Been there a couple of times following Leeds United. But that's it. This is closer for me. Everyone else will be doing Liverpool, and there will be all of the things there who hate everybody, who want everybody's life to be shit because theirs is. How are you doing?
I'm alright.
Yeah?
No, it's not today.
Huh?
So you know what the news now?
Not yet. News Now Yorkshire's not here yet. Street Hawk won't be here today, according to what he said an hour ago, but who knows? Marty won't be here today.
I know where Marty is. I've spoken to Marty because he can't come anywhere to this, can he?
Well, he can come to these if they forget to send a message to stop him from going.
They won't have known until like quarter to 1 o'clock or something. That's what time they've put out for.
Don't know. So it is currently quite quiet here. And on that basis, I might just talk. I might just talk a little bit about something I saw on the internet. Hello, rat poison. And has everybody heard of clavicus? Has everybody heard of tiki-toki? Because I'd sort of heard of them up to this week, and I'd never watched any of their stuff. I'd heard of lux-maxing and mogging. I could work out what lux-maxing was. I still haven't got a clue what the hell mogging is. I haven't got the faintest idea. But this tiki-toki person, it's got another part to his name and I can't even remember it. He did an interview on Piers Morgan. And by God, has he been practicing Machiavellianism as given out by the YouTube and Stoicism? He completely, thoroughly and utterly triggered Piers Morgan, completely triggered him. So much Piers Morgan ran off, running away. And of course, what was really interesting about this is it was Piers Morgan that invited him on and decided that Piers Morgan was going to give this guy a load of lip, start talking real shit straight at him, accuse him of X, Y, and Z, accuse him of all the bad things, and want him to fall apart. And the guy just smirked into Piers Morgan's face, told him he was lying, and in order to fulfill his end of meeting Piers Morgan's energy, he started asking him about why he was mentioned 28 times in the Epstein files. There's no smoke without fire. All of that stuff. I hope you're going to be very good today. He likes assaulting people. So he started accusing Piers Morgan of, well, not accusing, but just asking very pointedly, why are you mentioned 28 times in the Epstein files? What is it that you've been doing? And you could see Piers Morgan's face go like thunder. And then he starts quivering and quibbling and defending and making all the accusations and getting angry and trying to talk over. It's like, it was a fascinating thing to see as Tiki-Toki sat there with a smirk on his face, silent, as Machiavelli says, when your enemy is digging himself a hole, let him keep digging. And so he started carrying on and trying to have a go at Tiki-Toki, whatever his name is. So Tiki-Toki pulls out his mobile phone and shows how Piers Morgan's wife on the internet is advertising for a pool boy to come and clean her out. At which point Piers Morgan decided, this isn't fair, I'm walking off my own show. So he got up and walked out. Which is absolutely hilarious. It was a brilliant example of Stoicism and Machiavellianism. It was a brilliant example of emotional intelligence, not allowing yourself to be angered, triggered by Piers Morgan. Brilliant example how to use silence in exactly the right way, and then how to strike with a very, very, very sharp blade at the right time. And Piers Morgan couldn't handle it. He got absolutely obliterated.
Diverse conversation. It's alright, we're just talking. Just talking to the police. Alright. If you did, you going on about cutting tits off and putting them on people's heads, would you not? No, did you not feel right? Your mate, he said that in public, and he said that, so you're coming here between police, aren't you? We can come talk to you after.
Yeah, I'll talk when I want as well. I don't need you in between me. I talk to who I want when I want.
No, but equally, like, these guys are getting angry. They're all filming me again because they can see that background there. As I said to you, I'm not saying a big thing. Yeah, they're trying to get it right. But what I'm saying to you is that I'm coming to speak to you guys because clearly they're spoiling for a fight. I'm not the person that's going to start that, but I'm not saying that, you know, other people will. So all I'm saying to you is, if someone's going to be up there wanting to have these conversations, these debates, get aggressive, get in my face, move me across, whatever. If that's someone else, they might just fight it. Like, I'm saying as the police, it's your duty. Yeah, but I'm saying...
I've no idea who this guy is, but I'm 3 yards away from him and he thinks I'm in his face.
No one stood up there actually keeping an eye on.
Unfortunately, we don't have the officers.
I don't know who this guy is.
Obviously, we are just down here.
Do you know what's going to Like, all I'm saying is, like, if someone's going to stand up there spreading anti-trans agenda, filming people trying to get a rise, it's your duty and care as police officers to protect the public.
Yeah, but as I've explained, that it's freedom of speech.
It's freedom of speech, not freedom of consequences, mate.
He needs right to stand there where that's at.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's that.
But it's also our right as the public to be protected when people like this want to come around and film us and be aggressive and shout abuse at us in the street as well.
But again, there is their right. We're in a public setting that they are able to film.
That's fine.
If they want.
Okay. But what I'm saying is,
the people on the camp would move away from the cameras.
But what I'm saying to you is that you need to be protecting the public because
we are protecting the public. That's why we're here.
Okay, you're going to wash your hands of it. That's fine. I've made my point. You guys have a really good day as well.
Wasting your time. You went up to him and confronted him.
No, I didn't.
I was abusing him. You started it. You keep walking. Just keep walking. You know what I mean? You started. You moved to the next now. You know what I mean? No. Backfired, mate.
I did tell you I'm
Stop watching him and abusing him. You're on camera.
I think you'll find the abuse came from him first. I've got it all on here, mate. No, but what I'm saying is, you've just both had a brilliant debate. I can see why you guys keep your distance, to be honest. Because this is the sort of conversation you're on about.
Would you like a conversation?
Have a conversation with him.
Would you like a conversation, or do you just want to throw...
I've wasted half an hour of my day talking to you.
Okay, so no conversation. No, it's fine. I've never spoken to you. I don't know who you are.
Spend some time with my family.
I don't know who you are. I've never spoken to you. I'll give you a conversation. Just... That's fascinating. I wonder what protection he actually wants. He wants protection from having to hear things he doesn't want to hear. Does he want protection from people carrying cameras in public doing legal things? Does he want... I don't know, what does he want? Does he want to impose? Does he want to impose his ideals on everybody else, and everybody else must follow his ideals? What does he want? I don't have a clue what he wants.
Hi everyone, this is Mark. Give me a head. We do need more food.
You can stick it where the sun don't shine. With your borders undefined and your justice misaligned. Well, you know where you can shove your Palestine. Morning, States!
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. And this is what I'm saying. Free speech is free speech. You can say legal things happily without fear of being accosted and assaulted, or people demanding that the police prevent you from being allowed to say your freedom of speech things because they're offended. Those who are offended can be offended.
All right, bro.
How are you?
Yeah.
Have you done? I nearly really went for it then. What did you do?
I fell out of, well, I got out of bed to go for a wee and I walked into the wall instead of door. And then I fell over the buffet and...
You can't do anything except laugh.
It's not beyond there, is it?
The audio is on here, but your face isn't.
Oh,
I
it's
think
all right,
that's a hilarious story. That's brilliant.
Knackered boat,
How's
it's
that?
knacking me thumb and my last digit.
See, that usually happens before you get into bed.
Yeah,
It's,
no,
it's when you get up in the morning,
Yeah,
having been totally pissed the night before, you realise you've done
The thing
something.
is, I don't drink.
But you did it afterwards.
I've fallen out of bed, but I've got 2 mattresses, so it's like a 3-foot drop.
And your legs aren't long enough.
I've got bruising.
They're just not long enough to reach the floor, are they?
No,
Those legs.
no. I'm trying to bend over and I'm trying to grab hold of something. And it's like, here you go, he's gone, he's over.
Brilliant. Brilliant. But you're all right.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
the
all
thing
right.
is, you're all right, and you're able to laugh about it and laugh at yourself
Yeah,
about
but
it.
it took 10
Key
minutes.
thing.
Took 10 minutes for her to come running in.
She's
She
fallen
says,
out of
"Are
her
you
bed
all
as well.
She says, no, she was in the living room. She says, I've heard a thump. I said, will you come and pick me up? I can't get up.
No, I'm watching Piers Morgan. You can piss off to it yourself.
I'm watching my ghosties.
See you later. Life. Life happens. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. And you can laugh at others at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I don't know why he's here today. I think he might be part of PAG, Parents Against Grooming. But I thought he might be in Liverpool. But this is Edge of the Matrix. He's often in Manchester. And he always wears his A-boards. And there's sometimes a few people alongside him. There's no such thing as a transgender child. This is his current one. What's this one? Trans women are men. And if he takes it off and turns it the other way, he's got two other messages on the other side. And guess what? It's bloody freedom of speech. This is freedom of speech, freedom of belief. And each side can believe the opposite. And frankly, I don't give a fuck. But there is only one side that's actually imposing, or trying to impose, and has imposed for a decade or more, by the government. And the government would love to make this illegal, to have the position that the government doesn't want you to have. So who else have we got? Sasha Blue. Seems a poor turnout. I think it might be a little bit early yet, Sasha. Both the Palestinian March and the PAG March. I don't know if it's a march or whether it's just a stationary thing. Both of them highlighted arriving around 12 o'clock. But whatever it is that they're doing usually doesn't commence until 1 o'clock type of thing. So I think there'll be a little bit of time yet. And we got Edge of the Matrix here, doing very good things. And we got somebody arguing against him, doing very good things from his point of view. How are you, bud? And there's quite a few of the Seacroft lot here. There's Seacroft Migrant Hotel wanting to get rid of this rapists' hellhole out of their community, have their children safe or safer. And these are the pro-Palestinian, pro-Iranian, pro-terrorist mob. This lot like their TikTok slogans. But they're TikTok slogans that look at very small bits, then make those very small bits the center of it, and they say, and well, they develop chants and they develop music around it. They develop music around it and they walk around with their chants, just getting people who don't know what they're talking about to go, oh, that sounds nice, that sounds good. It sounds like they're against people doing horrible things to really nice people who've never done anything wrong in their lives. So I'm going to walk with them and support them. And then you go up to them and you ask them and you go, oh, what about this? What about, oh, I don't know anything about that. And my answer is, well, why the fucking hell are you actually lending your voice and your support to something you know nothing about? But these NPCs, the general NPC of the community, don't have a clue. They don't understand what's going on. They don't look into it in detail, or they only look at it from one side, and they can't work out that one person doing one thing which looks bad from the outside is about preventing a worse bad by taking out bad people. This is Leo's box and his stuff. It's a surprise he's not over in Liverpool with the UKIP march over there. But I think they'd have probably charged him about 500 quid to get that on the train. Let's have a look who's here. So that was a very short answer towards you, Sasha. Honest, it was a short answer. Sterling, Gaza is no longer newsworthy. It's a dead issue. No funding for Gaza. Communists flogging a dead horse. Absolutely right. No one's talked about Gaza. How long? How long is it? Is it 3 months? They're still wandering around this lot. Sarah Haft, Steve there. Steve being Edge of the Matrix, is it? Or somebody else, I don't know. Sylvia, all going off here in Liverpool. Yeah, as expected. It's expected to go off. Sterling, the BBC, UK approves US use of British bases as Trump considers winding down the war in Iran. Well, Trump just jumped between all of his different justifications, and he wasn't clear about his justifications at all. And nobody knew whether he was speaking the truth anyway, because nobody knows ever whether he's speaking the truth, so why should anybody listen to him? So, hey ho, he's taken a lot of them out. But the reality of the situation, if I go back to this lot over here, this lot represent the majority of Islam. And I don't mean the majority of the individuals that come to here. Any individual can be nice, any individual can be good. But what we have is absolute concrete evidence of what it's like when a lot of those individuals all congregate together from the same religion, from the same background. We know when they all congregate together and they become a big community and they push out the rest of people who are not from that community, we know what they're really like. Of which, within that, every single one of them could be really nice people. Really nice. But as a group all together, it all starts going horribly wrong. And we know that from evidence. We've seen it everywhere in the world. The only place where it hasn't gone horribly wrong are those places with shed loads of money. So to bring it back to the Iran Donald Trump stuff, I'm saying that the majority, the vast majority of people in Iran support an Islamic regime. They support their Quran, and they support the way that their imams interpret the Quran. So you can't actually win a war in Iran to free a minority of women from whatever is happening unless you actually carry out a genocide. It's just not possible. You can't do it. And if you did actually try to do it, and you were successful at it, you would end up in a massive war to the end, because dying at the hands of the Western shaitan, is called martyring, which gets you directly to heaven. Every single one of them, although they'd love to live, being martyred is the key element of life for them. So you're not going to win unless it is a full-on West versus Islam war, and they will go on until they're all martyred. That's where the problem is. How I see it. That's how I see it. You actually can't win. Now then, Leon, you've had your hair cut. You're looking very sleek, actually. I'm surprised you didn't go over to Liverpool.
I'd rather support this because it was there in Manchester for the Parents Against Groomers last year in Manchester.
Yep.
So I wanted to support this and make
Cool.
sure that people heard victims of these rape crimes and everything was heard.
Yeah.
Because
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. It's a
Was
good
it there?
justification.
was it there last year in Manchester?
Who?
Parents Against Groomers UK in Manchester.
I think I was there. There was UKIP there. There was a Ukrainian march there. And there was a massive everybody else from
the far
all of the
lefties-
lefty things
far
were
lefties
all
take
there all
close to
over the
us.
place.
They've got a massive PA system. We
Yeah.
can hardly hear the survivors.
Yeah,
So it was shocking. So,
yeah.
you know, wanted this to go off well today.
And that was at St Peter's Square, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Right on the Piccadilly statue,
Yeah.
on the Victoria statue steps here. But I fully charged my hi-fi. It's in the middle of that cabinet on wheels there, but it won't switch on. These lithium-ion batteries are just temperamental. It was working fine on Wednesday.
Bloody lefty lithium-ion batteries. They want to take your voice away. So you have carried and pushed and pulled this whole big, massive thing through to the streets of Leeds.
Yeah, it
And
won't switch on.
it won't switch on. It won't work. So,
Soy drinking lefties.
so it does look, having had that lovely little chat with Leo, it does look like
Time for us to start is 1 o'clock.
The-
We're delayed for 10-15 minutes because there's people on the way, the traffic's bad. So we want to get everybody here before we start. Singing the song or what?
it does look like, as I indicated earlier on, there is no reason whatsoever for the pro-Palestine lot to even turn around and look at this lot. And he's trying his best to wind them up.
You hate this country, don't you?
And he's got the right to do that. But these people are sticking to themselves. They're not interested in interacting. They don't want an interaction. They're just going to get on with what they do. Which I'm going to give them props for that. I'm going to give them props for that. They're not here to go and have a go at somebody else, today anyway. They have done it before, when Stand Up to Racism and some other oiks get involved with them. And they do their thing, which is good. They keep to themselves. And there's no reason for them to go and get at people who are complaining about grooming and children having been groomed across our society. I think over time they've learned that going against something like this doesn't do them any good. And PAG is going to delay its what was that dog doing? PAG is going to delay its stuff for another half an hour. This guy's desperate for attention. And they're ignoring him. Now then.
Yeah, I'm just going like that's strong calling.
Uh-huh. So I haven't seen News Now Yorkshire yet. I haven't seen News Now Yorkshire yet. Has anyone seen News Now Yorkshire? He's here. And there's nothing. He's shouting about leave right-wing British people and they're leaving you alone, pal. They're leaving you alone. It's like, what are you doing? No. So he's not particularly adding value. He's not realising that they're not taking any notice of him whatsoever, and they don't want to. He's not realising it. It's like, this lot are just they're doing their freedom of speech. I dislike what they say. I dislike how they do it. But they've got their backs turned and they're not interested in a confrontation in the slightest. And all he wants to do is have a confrontation. And it's
Like saying to that
not
guy,
right.
come here and say that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Have a nice day, my friend.
Andrew.
Go on, have your march, go away! Bye-bye! Bye-bye, Spanish!
That's what they're going to do. And there's a bunch of Cubs and Scouts here who don't need to listen to that. They don't need to listen to this stuff that I got the camera pointed at either.
Just going to move on to the accessibility announcements. Feel free to visit our accessibility inclusion store. It's a quiet area with several resources protesting. Resources there include a route to postcards and safeguarding guidance. We also include checklists, prayer mats and masks.
You're going to make me a steward this week?
No, sorry about that.
Ah, Zara, come on.
Maps too.
She's not going to
During
make
the
me a
march,
steward.
please ignore antagonists. This is to keep everyone safe. If anything serious does occur, we'll stop the march and assess the situation. Always flag down a steward if you see anything happen. For the legal side of things, you can get a bus card from the stewards. These cards contain vital information about experience of protest lawyers, and you can contact if you're arrested. Make sure to carry these bus cards around with you if you protest often. When it comes to the police, please remember these 5 things. 1. No comment. You don't need to answer police questions on the street or at a police interview. So always say no comment. 2. No personal information. You don't have to give any personal info under any stop and search power, so don't. Only give your name, address and date of birth at a custody desk to speed up your release if you wish. 3. Under what power? Ask the police under what power when they ask you to do something and why they use this power against you.
It's a very, very quiet group today. They are extremely quiet. I know nothing, Mike, nothing. Now this is a workers' power, communism, Marxism, Palestine and Marxist introduction. But what I want to get is the wind to stop blowing this quite impressive red cover on the table. Overthrow capitalism, workers' power, something about smash the system, and something about the climate. I don't know what it's actually saying. But the reality is that we have a cost of living crisis because we've got so many people coming into this country, whether legally or illegally, who just end up on our welfare system. They end up on our welfare system, we have to pay for them, and we are now paying out, well, let me rephrase that. Of all the money that is spent by this country, nearly 50% of it is spent by the government. Now think about that, because you have to think, where does the government get its money from? It doesn't get its money from selling stuff. It gets its money from taxing you, taxing business, and fining you when you are caught contravening something that you didn't even possibly know you were contravening because they produce legislation that is so convoluted and confusing that nobody ever knows whether they are contravening anything. But I have never seen this lot so quiet. Never seen it. What is going on?
We've got one of our stewards waving their hands. I think we need like a few more. So please, if you could, it would be really appreciated. You'll still be able to march as usual, just with the high vis on and obviously being aware of your surroundings. So please volunteer. We need stewards so we can march. And if you can hold the banners, we've got it's the same banners as last time, 2 banners. And then a PA
Sterling says, Telegraph, just now, US has done something, strikes Iran's nuclear enrichment site with bunker busters. Didn't they claim they had done that a few months ago and said it's gonna take decades for Iran to get their nuclear stuff back? Sterling, sunny Shia loving in Leeds, but not in the Middle East. Well, the thing is, they will have a loving if it means coming together against the Western infidels and spreading Islam across the world. Puskas, commander of US Central Command, we bombed Iranian ballistic missile depots and radars used to threaten navigation. Okay. All right. What about the drones? Okay. Enoch, sure, Israel is not going to be winding down anything in Iran until the regime is gone. We need to get rid of all of the people to get rid of that regime, I think.
Yeah, he's coming to First Direct
That's my view of it.
This Tuesday in Leeds, the Leeds one. Boo! Yeah.
Israel will go all the way. Trump will support, says Sterling.
Leeds First Direct Arena.
Israel will finish this, says Enoch. Never read Trump literally. That's so true, Sterling. So true.
And we don't like those people, do we?
Internally, Israel will not survive another backdown, and the country will implode in civil war against the deep state if that happens, says Enoch. Enoch continues, the Arab world is simply waiting to see how this ends to decide which side to take. That's why the Arabs are not helping. I think there's a difference between the Emirate states and the rest of them, but I could be wrong. I don't live there. Enemy of my enemy until further notice.
Social media, PSC on Instagram, Leeds Palestine Solidarity Campaign on Facebook, or just come up to me
and the Emirate states.
and then you can find out some more.
The Emirate states are all really, really happy with all their oil and money,
so I've got 2 volunteers
and they don't like fundamentalism because it ruins their society. Whereas the rest of the Muslim countries,
thank you.
I don't know.
Gonna have another volunteer to carry the.
Anyway, that was an interlude with News Now Yorkshire. Sophie 10XOX.
Okay.
Mondi, you're a very good speaker and explain clearly so the dummies like me can understand.
Once we've had our stewards briefing, then we'll set off and yeah, we'll announce on here that we're setting off.
Thank you, Sophie.
Just follow me under. In the meantime, I toss stalls, talk to fellow protesters.
Enoch, are Cubs and Scouts still boys only in the UK? No, they're not. No. MCI, clueless bird still learning about life, waving a plasticine flag, standard. Freedom of speech, freedom of belief. You see, there's a lot on the other side that don't have much education either. A good dollar for gender bending. Sterling, in my day, Boy Scouts and Girl Guides. Very true, Sterling. There are still the Girl Guides and the boys can't go in it. Unless they identify, maybe. Cubs and brownies for the young'uns, but you've misspelled that, Enoch, and I thought it said the young nuns. I think you're right, they were called brownies, I think. I don't think we had wolf cubs in Britain, but I could be wrong. Brownies would be considered racist today. Saudi Arabia has almost 1 million slaves according to the World Slavery Index. I can imagine they probably do. A lot of them are from Bangladesh, as far as I know, or from South India as well, I think. And they do get treated quite badly, but they also have an opportunity to make some money, to live out there. But they can leave, as far as I'm aware. So I don't know how much they're slaves. I think when they choose to go there and sign a contract, they become slaves, but they get paid and they send money home. I think. I don't know enough about it. This lot are still so quiet. There is nobody producing chants for them today, and I don't understand why. I don't know what's going on. There's nobody speaking and there's nobody singing. This is disconcerting, really disconcerting. It's a very strange group today. Why are they so quiet today, Mike? What's going on? There's nobody speaking. Why are they not singing? Chanting. Free, free, free. Are you going to start?
You start one. Sorry,
There is an Iranian regime flag in there. Do you want to get closer to it, Sterling? Do you want to get closer to it? How are you? Very good. We're no, he's right behind you. No, he's looking after his friend's dog, which would be too much trouble to bring it in here for him. I know. Yeah, I've seen him. I haven't spoken to him. I've let him get on with his stuff. I can't believe how quiet it is here today. There's no chanting, there's no nothing. So these are the ladies of Mojtab Khamenei. Although there are rumours coming out of Donald Trump's camp that he is gay. Now, of course, you can't believe anything that Donald Trump says, and you should never take anything he says literally. But I can't believe that he is pulling a trait-based aspect instead of going, yeah, so what if he's gay? The issue that they're actually pulling out there is that if he's the leader of a regime that demands people who are gay are either hung from cranes or threw off buildings or are forced to undertake gender change operations, then I can understand what is it that I can understand? I can understand having a go at him because of it. But I do think it's a very weak thing to go at him for. Maybe they're hoping that his people will just take him out while he is incapacitated in his bed, so that they can have somebody lead the country who will fully maintain the hate and terrorism and repression of their society, rather than possibly somebody who might work slowly to change things around. I don't know.
You're not doing any good, go on!
No one to tell them what to think and chant, says Enoch. I agree. I think it's just good-humoured trolling. I think it's funny trolling.
I love the way people
but it's a bit weak.
Run away.
It's a bit weak for a principled society.
Bye.
He's just shouting into the wind here. It's like, I'm alright, are you?
Good, yeah.
Still no one wants to talk
Not
to
seen you
him.
for a while.
Well, I've stopped going up to that thing.
I haven't been there.
I haven't been well though, the past few days.
Haven't you?
I haven't been feeling like shit. I woke up sore throat. I've just been coughing this green stuff up, luminous stuff, and I've just been a bit chesty.
Standard thing, or?
Well, it's not a normal cold, so I think.
But it's a standard thing you'd probably get every 5 years type of thing.
Yeah, it's outright.
Bluey,
Like I said,
nasty.
I haven't been badly ill. I just felt.
Always.
Why?
I think he's just used to doing it, and it's part of his persona now. Unless he's told he has to take it off, which he happily does.
People who call themselves police officers.
See, previously with the stuff that he used to do, I guess he was making sure that they don't know who he is and can't go after him and can't target him. And then there's all this lot that are over here, and it's trying to get them not to target you. But everyone knows what he looks like. I can't believe how quiet they are. And also, I was talking to, I think it's him there, right, when I first arrived, and he's going, "Well, what do you think is going to happen today?" And I said, "Well, I've got a feeling, because it isn't all the things here, the pro-Palestine lot will stand over there on their own and not give a shit about what's going on here, knowing that this is about children being groomed. And they're not pro children being groomed, so why would they go against it?" And that's exactly what's happened. And PAG should focus on what it is doing, free speech, and they should focus on what they're doing, free speech. Then our world would be fucking great.
Yeah, unfortunately, with some of them over there, though, you can't say all can you?
Oh, you can say what you like.
You know,
just
what I
go
mean.
free speech.
They're trying to get you done.
Somebody just did. Somebody just tried to get Steve from Edge of the Matrix done, claiming that people are protected by his opinions. Like, okay, basically the police turned around and went. Essentially, they went fuck off.
It's not a criminal offence,
but they didn't say that.
Somebody.
Exactly.
That's what, unfortunately, some people don't understand, do they?
No.
Where's your British flag, say? You haven't got any, have you?
I'm going to wander up there and see what Steve is up to anyway.
You load of traitors!
So let's go see what Edge of the Matrix is up to. Still very quiet. There's no free. They're getting themselves to be ready.
Okay, everyone, are we ready to march, guys? Yes? Yes? Okay, make sure you're joining the back of it, and we're going to start now if the stewards are all good with that.
Very good. And I think the issue here is they have seen us so much every week that they no longer react to us, and they're very aware not to react if they can. Now the question is, do I stay with the PAG UK lot or do I follow the Palestine lot? Which one do you lot want? Do I do the usual, follow that lot, of which nothing ever happens? Or do I go back and listen to the speeches of PAG, Parents Against Grooming? Which would you like? I am in your hands. Let me know in the comments. PAG or PSC? You will note that all of the police have stayed here. You're going to have a busy day today, eh? Yeah. They never get it right. They never get it right. They never work out. Is it likely to actually produce a problem? Decisions, Enoch. Which way would you like me to go, Enoch? Which way would you like me to go?
Palestine, why don't you go there? Leave us alone. Leave us in peace.
They've gone. They've gone down the road. They're not listening.
Hey, Marcus!
Hello, Marcus.
Now, if his focus was actually, you lot are the people that are hiding the groomers and the rapists. You lot are the people who have all of it in your community. If that was the focus of that guy, then it might work. But at the moment, he's just shouting at a bunch of people who have turned their backs on him.
On the backside as well.
Protect all women, protect all children, protect our freedom to live without fear and threat. Get control of our borders. Not yet, not yet, not yet. British women, first pink ladies. What does grooming mean? It's when someone tricks or tries to trick a young person into trusting them so they can hurt or take advantage of them. Some warning signs and what you can do. Donate a rape alarm instead of a flag. Lives are saved by action, not decoration.
It's not the quantity, it's the quality of people.
Stand together to protect our kids. Predators rely on silence. We don't. British women first. The pink ladies. Stop violence against women and children. Women's rights are human rights, which is exactly why stuff has to happen in Iran. Despite the fact that it won't work.
Iraq.
I got beat up George Galloway.
People ask, how can a person abuse a child? I ask, how can so many good people not do anything about it? And that is the one statement, which is the guy who is shouting into the wind is the actual issue. If he'd been shouting about grooming, it would have worked, but he wasn't shouting about grooming. He was just looking for antagonizing some people because of their colours, because of their colour, because of their thoughts. It would have worked. Thank you very much for that. Very good. Are you ready? Good. Breathe, breathe, breathe.
Come on. Ladies and gentlemen.
2 deep breaths all the way in, and then slow breath.
Technical issue. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. Thank you for standing with me today on the tour. The accountability now. Enough is enough, guys. We've been starting to go around the UK. We've done Oldham. We've done St Helens. We're now here to do Leeds, and with good reason to be here in Leeds as well, with the amount of cases that I've gone. Just a little bit of research that I've done over the last couple of days. I can tell you now, since 2021, 129 men from Leeds alone have been convicted of abusing Leeds children. 129 men in 5 years. That's absolutely outstandingly disgusting. Also, I'm not counting the abusing Jewess. I'm not counting those that are today on bail. I can tell you now before you, in Leeds alone, there's 64 men on bail in Leeds today for abusing children. This is why we're here in Leeds, and this is why we'll be hitting many other towns across the UK, because they've got exactly the same issue. For those that don't know me, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Billy Howarth, and I'm founder of Parents Against Grooming UK, and for the last 20 years I've been fighting the abuse of children in the UK. It starts off with me at No View School for me, with the paedophile Cyril Smith. Does anyone know who I'm on about? Yeah. Cyril Smith was a Member of Parliament for both Labour and for the Liberal Democrats, who used No View House, Cambridge House, Smith Street toilets, along with his cronies, to abuse as many as Rochdale boys who were all my age and older for many, many years. Them boys have never had justice, so this is again accountability now. We can't start that without speaking about these lads, and we can't start that without speaking about lads from Big Chorm House and from Elms Guest House and the rest of them, from the West Monster paedophiles. That's what they were, and they preyed upon our boys all across the country. We are not just fighting against grooming gangs, ladies and gentlemen, we're fighting against paedophiles. We're fighting against, this is not a fight of right and left, this is a fight of good versus evil. Ladies and gentlemen, you're all on the side of the good. Mohamed Yaqub, Nazir Bilmora, Yusuf Mutala, Dewsbury, Batley, Dewsbury, all been charged recently of abusing your children here in Leeds. We've got to make this stand. We are the last line of our children's defence, ladies and gentlemen. There is a dark cloud of injustice that reap over the skies of the United Kingdom. It's only us that's going to move those clouds so accountability can shine through. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me here today. I'm going to be speaking again, but I'm going to get on with putting some speakers in front of you, the people who have lived this first-hand testimony. Please, I know there's a lot going on around you, but there's nobody more important than the person speaking to you. So please, please listen to what they're saying. Video it, put it on the social media so everybody can see just what these people are saying. So first up, I'm going to stay with the historical stuff, and the first person I'm going to bring up is my good friend Alan Murray from Beach Hill Survive. Please give him a warm welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Won't forget you this time. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time for Alan Murray, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, as Billy's just said, when he's talking about things, it's like sometimes when survivors come together, their testimonies are what makes a lot of difference. Unfortunately, our talk with the police and all that, but the police are complicit as well. Our courts are complicit. Our politicians are complicit. When he talks about child abuse in the system, when we're talking about child abuse and we've got a heckler, what about child abuse, my friend? Have you ever been abused? You wouldn't know what it was like. So I spent 17 years in different institutions, people. From the age of 0
I can't believe
to
somebody
6,
just did that.
I was in 5 different children's homes. They called it respite care. So they put you into care because they think your parents weren't suitable for looking after you. Why have you started?
They were heckling us. So I might tackle them. So are you asking me to leave? I will leave. If you're asking me to leave, I'll leave. Are you legally telling me that I'm asking you to leave? Okay, am I allowed to legally stand here? They started boring at us. They started boring at us. You didn't move down. Okay, well then you as the general police. I'll leave. If you ask me to leave, I'll leave. Thank you. Okay, I'll just stand at a safe distance, which I'll worry about. One guy, by the way, one guy. Needed 5 picks for one guy.
So I'd like everybody to understand who this is and the abuse or the attempt at interrupting survivors of grooming. So are you saying you're pro-grooming? Is that why you're shouting at them?
Well, you look boring. Nothing to do with grooming.
Well, that's what they're there for. That's what they're there for.
Oh,
and
I expect them to
there is
the person on the Epstein Island.
And there is somebody who is just giving their witness statement, giving their testament. They're giving their testament. They're talking about not Epstein. They're talking about not billionaires. Not billionaires.
Human trafficking.
They are talking about the people from around our communities that are doing it to the local children.
Politicians that went to Epstein's Island.
Oh, there are still the politicians that are doing this stuff, and it's all of the Labour Party, all of the Labour Party, all of the Islamist councils, all of them have been keeping this going.
Boring, the Labour Party, he had a lot of influence upon that.
I completely agree. I hate the Labour Party. That's why I'm not a supporter of them.
Hey,
That's why I'm not a supporter of socialism and communism, because it leads to people like Starmer and Mandelson.
You think Starmer's a communist? Holy
Starmer's a socialist.
He's a socialist?
Yes.
Are you fucking tapped in the head, mate? Did
No.
someone drop you as a child?
No.
He's pretty socialist. He allows all of this bullshit just for fucking social kicks. Queer stuff.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah. Where's the dog?
Yeah, where's the dog? Where's the dog?
Shit, I wish I had the dog.
What,
Is the dog?
Is the dog ill because you let it eat donuts or something last week?
Oh, yeah. Poor belly.
Poor belly. Poor belly.
All right, you're
But it's all I'm saying is these are people who have suffered,
Epstein. Until they mention Epstein,
I never knew
don't wanna fucking
Epstein.
hear it.
I never knew
Okay,
Epstein.
then until they mention Epstein, I don't want to fucking
I never.
hear it.
And
Gangs and shit.
how has Epstein impacted you?
What?
How has
Do you
Epstein
fucking-
impacted
do you?
you?
Fucking hear yourself? We're
I'm
talking
just
about
asking you a
grooming.
question.
We're talking about grooming.
These
The largest
people,
grooming operation
these
in
people are
history.
interested
They trafficked
in what's
young
happened to
women and
them.
girls
These
to the
people
White House.
want. These people want people to be taken responsibility for what's happened to them. That's here in the UK. Epstein is a billionaire that deals with the elites, and it's really interesting stuff. It's really interesting stuff. But all you can go on about is Epstein rather than what actually happens here?
More children have been victimised by Epstein than ever will be victimised by random fucking pedophiles. What? It was an industrial human trafficking machine. What are you fucking talking about?
How many?
Hundreds, at least hundreds. We don't fucking know. We'll never know.
At least hundreds. What's the top end that you're going to put it at? Well, these people are actually talking about thousands of British girls here in the UK, particularly across the north, but all the way through the UK, including in London, all the way through. This is grooming gangs. It doesn't matter what religion a grooming gang is. It doesn't matter where they come from. They've got it all. If you listen to them instead of shouting at them, these are the victims. This is the point, and you're laughing. They're giving their testament and you're shouting boring at them. Everybody, I've got him on 4K HD here. You can all see who he is. This is the type of person that doesn't give a shit about British girls who are being groomed throughout our country, and now he's making a claim. You're the one that doesn't give a fuck. You're the one that's been shouting. You're the one that's been shouting at these people. You're the one who has been shouting at these people. We care about children.
Children are being murdered in droves in Palestine by Israel. I don't hear a word about that.
That's because you're not following the group. You're not following the group. Who is actually talking about that?
I'm taking care of my shit. I'm taking care of my group shit.
Yes, I had a look at your shit. I had a look at your shit. Palestine and Marxist introduction, the cost of living crisis, all caused by
just say the name
socialism and Marxism. The rank and file's next step.
Just say the name.
Where's Epstein? Where's your stuff about Epstein? Where is it? Where's your stuff about Epstein? Where's your stuff about Epstein?
We talk about it.
Where's your stuff about Where's your stuff about Epstein?
Fucking platform grooming gangs, do we?
Well, you're the one that goes Epstein.
Because you're talking about growing my fucking.
This lot are talking about grooming gangs.
It's like at the top of this, pal.
What about that?
Epstein's at the top of this. He's the reason why we're all fucked.
No, he's not. The reason we're all fucked is all the bloody immigrants coming in here who don't work and take all the money. Which is why 50% of the money spent in the UK, 50% of the money spent in the UK is actually spent by the government on people that do not help to actually deliver. It's the UK government data. It comes from the OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility. The Office of Budget Responsibility. There is no other data. That's where the statistics come from. The government provides the statistics. The OBR is an independent organisation set up by the previous government to make sure that every budget is costed. He's asking about it. He's going, where's this money come from? Where's the evidence of this? I've just given him the evidence. It's on the OBR website. It's all there.
And so the OBR website.
OBR, the Office of Budget Responsibility.
And that will tell me that 50% of government money is spent on
I think it's 47. I said nearly 50. You just said 50. Don't try and tell me you said 50. It's nearly 50. 47% of government's spending in the UK. 47% of spending in the UK is by the government. In other words, where does that come from? By the government.
You said on immigrants.
No, by the government.
47% of the money spent.
47% of the money spent in this country is by the government. Which means, where does all that money come from? Because the government does not produce things and sell it. They take money from the people. Who are the people they're taking from? The people who are paying taxes, the businesses, and through fines. Oh, the reason that the money has gone up to 47% is a lot to do with the number of people in this country that are here not working. It's all about welfare. All about welfare.
There we go. That's the talking point.
Which is socialism. That's exactly what you're after. It's socialism and communism. That's exactly it.
You haven't read a single communist text.
I have read the Communist Manifesto.
Where does that say that we don't work? Where does that say that we don't work?
You won't have any money to work.
What?
You do realise
You don't have any money to
you
work?
do realise that the end state of communism is there's no money left to do anything, and you have to be bailed out by capitalist societies, which is exactly what happened to the USSR.
Can I clarify?
You certainly can.
You said how much you spent?
47%. Total GDP, the total amount spent in the UK, 47% is by the government. Whether it's no, full stop, and it's just madness. It's just madness, yeah. On whatever the government spends money on. And the government includes local government, it includes our administrations. It is businesses that are set up for us to keep us all having stuff given to us, so we have to give money to them to be able to do it. So essentially 47%. Yes, and it's at 47% tax rate on average. That's the point. That is the point. That is miles too high. It's never been that high.
We could pay more. We should pay more. Billionaires should
We're
pay
spending
so
too
more.
much money by government, and socialism requires government to be big. Socialism and communism is all about statism, and it requires government merely to take money from the people in order that they can hand it out to other people that don't have.
Oh, I love those.
And if you're at 50%, then you are basically going, there's a small amount of people and businesses that are paying for a hell of a lot of people.
So your concern is the amount of money that the government is spending, right?
Say that again.
Your concern is the amount of money that the government is spending.
I would prefer to have a much, much smaller government. I would much prefer to have people who have freedom that comes with responsibility. Responsibility to maintain their lives and to keep themselves going, not the government being mummy and daddy. That's my concern.
So you agree that the government should spend less, right?
Absolutely, a lot less.
The money that we give to Israel. Your Twitter says you're pro-Israel, so the money that we give to Israel should also be just...
I don't know how much money they give to Israel. I haven't got a clue.
They give quite a bit.
I know that we have our aid.
So would you then agree that we should spend less money to Israel?
I don't think we should be spending hardly any money abroad whatsoever. We need to defend our country, protect our country. And if that means Israel get nothing because they get everything from America, so be it. I don't know that we actually give anything to Israel, but
alcohol on the government to spend less money giving foreign aid to Israel, right? You would agree
I'm interested in foreign aid being pretty much near zero. It's part of it. It's absolutely part of it, yes. It would be. And nothing to Pakistan either. Nothing to Palestine either.
What about
nothing to any other country. Scotland. Now there's an interesting question. That would be suggesting, I believe, that they're foreigners. Your focus is on just that. My focus is on everything.
So let's say like our focus is a niche of this, right?
Yours is a niche.
Yeah, right. So you'd agree with this niche then, right?
No, I agree with you don't want us to spend money on that.
Yes. So we can agree on the fact that we shouldn't.
I don't have a problem with agreeing that we should not be giving money out to any other country. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem. It includes Israel. It includes everywhere.
No, but you are pro-Israel, right?
I am pro-Israel. That doesn't mean I need to give money to Israel.
So you agree?
I am pro-Israel's desire to protect themselves and defend for themselves. That's fine. They can get their money from wherever they want.
But you should agree that they shouldn't be
But I don't think we should have any money going out to anywhere.
So you should be then agreeing with us and calling on the government to stop sending money abroad.
But that's only one of your little bits.
No, but like you should.
But there are always going to be little aspects. There are always going to be little aspects of your arguments that I will go, yeah, that's fine. Another aspect that I agree with is your freedom of speech. I absolutely, fundamentally agree with it. Because as soon as anybody's freedom of speech is taken away and their freedom of belief, freedom of thought, that's a problem.
I love freedom of belief.
Yeah.
What? You should have been protesting against the prescription of Palestine action then.
No, well, here's the difference. Here's the difference.
They don't believe what I believe.
No. They're a bunch of criminals that caused violence and caused
the government
problems.
makes a law, that means you're a bad person. If the government made a law tomorrow that said if you step on a crack, then you're actually morally culpable for breaking someone's back in the world, do you think that would be a good law? Do you think someone would be a disgusting person for stepping on a crack?
I believe that you should not, if you're Palestine Action, you should not be causing criminality by smashing stuff up, by covering stuff in paint, by attacking people, by assaulting people. There are certain crimes I agree with. It's like, you asked a stupid question.
Sorry, Palestine aside.
Yeah.
So you're saying you support like the freedom of speech, all that stuff, right? We can agree on that?
I do, yeah.
Right. So what were your reactions when the Met Police and the Manchester Police then criminalised words in Arabic and arrested people for saying them?
It's shaking off.
Because I mean the difference there. Hang on. You're trying to get me to move to an absolutist freedom of speech. I do go with absolutist freedom of speech, which means I accept what you say because I want to hear what you're saying to work out whether you're actually dangerous. Which also means, on exactly that basis, you have to accept everybody else that's in this country that may well be racist, maybe what you think are Nazis, may well want to shout anything and everything about just your colour of your skin or your religion. You have to accept it. It doesn't mean you have to agree with it. And it doesn't mean you can't argue against it.
So you were outraged when they then criminalised Intifada and other Arabic words and other phrases. You were also outraged because it was taking away freedom of speech. The fact that they're taking away freedom of speech, right?
The bit of outrage that I had was that people didn't understand what it actually meant for so long. But I was the police, the governments, they didn't really understand what was being asked.
And what do you think was being said?
Essentially, you're going for civil war in this country and rebellion in this country in order to impose a global intifada. And it's a revolution, armed revolution and struggle against something, which I am happy that you're shouting it. I am happy that you're shouting it. 1996.
But you know what? It was the premise of it was civil resistance, right? So
yeah.
So then, if you're confident,
it's armed resistance.
Not always. Civil resistance is also included.
But it was armed resistance. But it was armed resistance.
Right. The second Intifada, armed resistance, different topic. I'm saying civil resistance was the majority of the first Intifada. If we said globalized Intifada, right? We're talking about an uprising, right? When that was uprising to just violent resistance. It could also be non-violent resistance, but in terms of civil resistance, protesting what we're doing here, campaign.
What was the end? What was the end of that Intifada?
The end of that Intifada was, I mean, we've not seen the end of
2005. Let's just say 2005. What happened? What happened in 2005? What happened in 2005? Because your Intifada. Hang on, Mark. Hang on. Your Intifada actually worked. What happened in 2005? But you got the end game. Everything's about outcomes. Yeah.
So we're agreeing that Intifada means Palestinian uprising. In simple terms, it means Palestinian.
Not in global Intifada.
Uprising in general, and the actual definition of
Intifada, yeah, struggle, uprising, but violent as part of it,
uprising, right?
Which is against peaceful.
Right, uprising. What is an uprising?
Israel is massacring children. That's not very peaceful, is it?
As is Palestine. It's not very. It's not very peaceful, is it?
So uprising is.
It's like as is Iran. I mean, it's not very peaceful.
Hundreds of thousands of children died.
Yeah.
They have a 70% women and children casualty rate ratio.
Yeah.
In Israel.
Yeah.
That's intentional targeting of civilians.
Really? What? I think you've just made up the numbers.
You think I've just made up the numbers?
Yeah.
So can we go back to
yes.
So you then are also outraged by the fact that they've demonized Intifada as a term. Just as if you're
yes. In terms of free speech, I want to hear that stuff because I want to know who's saying it, who's thinking it.
So where was your outrage on that?
So all of the
my outrage,
it's
like I'm always talking about free speech and I'm always talking about whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what word has been done.
Right.
But they made a choice that actually in a way, it's treasonous or dangerous in some way.
So you agree the police should have criminalised Father?
All they did was they said it's a breach of the peace type thing. Don't do it, otherwise we've got to arrest people.
Right, but so then you
It's like,
that, right?
and I don't like that.
You don't like
I do not like that at all. It is
So we
speech.
should-
It is speech
like
that
UK, we
should
should
not.
criminalise
It
Father.
should not be criminalised. What we need to know is what people act, how people act. If it leads, if that speech incites somebody to undertake an act,
And what do you think it
then
incites?
there is a problem with the person that was inciting
But what do you think
that they
Intifada
must deal
incites?
with.
What do you think Intifada incites?
It incites violence, and when you're talking about a global intifada and it's on our streets, it's inciting people here to actually have a go at other people who may not agree with them. Hang on. Other people who may not agree with them suddenly get called racist, fascist, Nazis because for some reason your group think those words are the trigger words that will get them to do something. It is freedom of speech, but the reason for doing it is to trigger a reaction to allow violence.
Like when they call the terrorists, that's freedom of speech.
But
and
it's
trigger a reaction, right?
and they do that because they have had all of this stuff pushed at them. They now don't care.
You agree that they also agree the same way to trigger reaction?
Absolutely.
Right.
It's to trigger a reaction and to let people know that's what we think about you, which is exactly what you do when you call people Nazis, fascists, and racists. It's like, yeah, okay, I don't care. Call me whatever the fuck you like, but I know what type of person you are. And purposefully, people who've been called that will then call you a terrorist or a terror supporter to see whether you can handle it, to see whether you can handle it.
A random conversation on Facebook, people are getting called terrorists without mentioning Father. It's not always, you can't say it's a binary reaction, it's absolutely separate. The term calling for a terrorist is not inherently saying his father or blood related father or anything like that. Or going for a racist
My
fashion.
dog commits
It's
it.
absolutely a dog whistle to insult and then people, and traditionally it's people of colour, people that look like me. I would say people that look like you as well. I would say that people see you, I would assume you're a brown man. I don't think you would say you're a brown man or not. But it's absolutely used as a way to offend and insult. It's not used as a reaction to Intifada or a reaction to racist, Nazi or whatever you want to say it's a reaction to. It can be used in isolation.
I think the issue that you've got within the Muslim community. Hang on. No. I'm answering your question, but you've said it's slightly wider than Intifada and people are just using it. So I'm answering that part of your question, which is people see that 99% of terror attacks in Britain come from a certain community. That's yes, absolutely. It's from my just understanding that there have been 45,000 terrorist attacks from one community and less than 500 from others.
What we can bring that's an opinion, right? So it's not actually statistics.
No, it is actual statistics, but it's statistics that I've heard.
Right, from where?
From various news sources, and I can't remember. I can't remember. I don't remember that stuff. All I'm saying is, the perception is terrorism is produced from one area of society in general, which is why counter-terrorism and prevent is aimed at one area. Sorry, start again because I was...
When Sikh men get called terrorists, there's actually a video just going viral right now.
I agree.
Sikh man getting called terrorists because of risk. It wasn't to do with the fact that he's Muslim. He's not a Muslim man. You got called a peace there, you got called a terrorist. You got called a multitude of things. I think that's wrong.
I think it's absolutely wrong.
Absolutely wrong, right?
It's absolutely wrong. However, if you know much about Sikhism, you know that they are warriors,
Right.
which isn't necessarily terrorists. But you've also got a lot of people in this country that can't tell the difference between who's Pakistani, who's Indian, who's... it may well be, but there are a lot of people from other communities that can't tell the difference between us. They think that everybody British is elite. Everybody British is the patriarchy, all the British men. They're all the patriarchy. They say, and they're wrong.
So that doesn't
because
work, right?
because it's the elites that used to run, and most of the people, irrespective of gender or race or religion, most of the people were downtrodden by merely the very high level social strata that did stuff. And this is where everybody makes this mistake, and it's a mistake that I have to accept throughout society, because everybody makes mistakes.
So like, let's say for like the demos that anti-racist, the anti-racist demos that happen in Leeds, London, wherever they go, wherever you are.
Anti-race.
The anti-racist ones.
Anti-racist.
Yeah.
Okay, so Antifa type and
Antifa,
stand up to racism.
Wherever you want to say
Yeah.
it. So these are also challenging perceptions that are actually affecting minorities. So like the whole thing of the misconceptions of who's brown, who's Indian, who's Pakistani, who's Sri Lankan. Whoever looks brown to them, this is a perception they're challenging, that this is really, really core to our argument. So we shouldn't be allowing the education of people to see that you can't just go attack people because of the skin, right? So you would agree with that, right?
Do you believe there's a separate argument, right? There's a separate argument. Do you believe in heritage and nativeness of a people? And
I don't think you can believe it. I think it just exists. I have heritage. I have people.
yeah, do you think there is a right of people to have a nation, their own nation, where their culture, because of long standing development over time, do you think they have a right to fight against being invaded by others to take over their land?
Being invaded is...
It's whatever way. It's just too many people coming in.
Being invaded is
No.
the term.
Well,
So
it doesn't matter. Yeah. I'll define it. It doesn't matter to me whether that is by war or by just people arriving from lots of places. So are the native people allowed to be concerned as they lose out?
So it's like, what? So if a white person sees a brown person, it's like we're being invaded. That kind of perception.
No.
So what?
No.
So
The perception is understanding that the numbers of people in the country who are the native people has gone down from, it used to be 98% not that long ago, to 80%, and in some, and it is a big amount. But I think it's actually worse than that. I think it's around about 65, but I can't remember the numbers.
I was still 65.
But
I'm still willing to fight as an invasion.
But when you end up knowing that London is only less than 40% native, our capital city, when you look at the numbers of communities across certain places, and certain areas are down to 15%, and you're going, the issue here is this no longer works, because what we've got is separate communities living alongside each other but not able to live together, and that's a problem.
Where I'm from, we have a mix of everyone. I integrate quite well. A lot of my friends are white, a lot of my friends are people of colour.
You're a student, yeah?
No, not a student, just growing up. I integrate with everyone. My best friend is white.
Right. I'm going to make an assumption. I'm not asking you your age. I'm going to assume you're maybe up to 25, right? So, where you were growing up, I would agree. That's how it was. Lots of people, the majority probably white, maybe not, I don't know, but a lot of integration and a lot of mixing. And it was good. And that's the point, it was good. Then comes along massive integration. Instead of having 50,000 coming in, we went up to 300,000, and then up to nowadays 1 million in 1 year. In 1 year. And the country has grown, and all of the growth is through these extras. So the issue is that the people who are the natives perceive they are losing their land and they're losing their culture. They're not allowed to be how they were. which might well be. Some of them were racist.
Be how they were. What would that mean? What would that mean? So I just want to clarify what that means. Be how they were.
It means that the government, in exactly the same way that you've turned around and said that intifada is one of those things that's a problem for this government, therefore they stopped it. In exactly the way that social media, 12,000 people a year get arrested for social media tweets or whatever for something they say. It's the same thing. That is, they want to be free. Their freedoms. They perceive their freedoms by the government.
By the government and not by the people that are coming to their country.
Ah, well, this is the interesting thing.
Because if I came to this country, I'm not going to stop anyone from saying whatever they want. I'm in this country and I'm existing and contributing to the economy. I don't like.
No. The interesting thing.
Clarify what you meant by be how they were.
Yeah.
So what can a native person do now? They can't do now, but they could do back then.
They can't speak their mind. No, because of the change that's gone on in society because of mass immigration.
What is the change?
Which is all about cutting down your freedom of speech, cutting down your concerns. You're not allowed to have concerns.
Do you have statistics of how many immigrants come to the country?
Hang on. You're not letting me finish. If people perceive that the issue has arisen because of immigration, because of people from other countries arriving here en masse is what we're talking about. Massive, huge amounts just over the past 10, 15 years. Yeah? That changes things, it changes politics, it has changed the way that you're allowed to say things, it changes the way that people have been brought up, because they end up in jail. There's 12,000 people being criminalized for social media tweets. For essentially pretty nasty stuff they say online, but it's freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech, not freedom of consequence. Surely there should be consequences.
What's the consequence of just speech?
Well,
the issue is action.
Like human rights in general.
The issue is action.
Is you can have your freedom of speech as long as it doesn't infringe on another person's right to live.
Right. Okay. So how does somebody saying that they don't like somebody, let's say for the colour of their skin or because of their religion, how does that infringe on someone's right to live? How does it?
What has Nigel Farage, what has Law done for the past 2 years where they've said this thing?
What does it infringe? In what way does it infringe on their right to live?
I'll tell you how. It incites violence against women of colour. The amount of women of colour that are being raped and killed has risen since the...
Where does that come from?
The news. I thought we talked about the news and facts. Right?
Well, I'm asking you now, where are those facts from? Because I'm not hearing it. What I'm hearing is the majority of people... And no, we are arguing just of... When I say stuff, you demand evidence. All I'm saying is when I say stuff, you're demanding evidence, and now I'm going, you've said something, so I'm demanding your evidence.
So your agreement was people should be allowed to say father because they want to see how they act, right?
Exactly.
Right. So when we're having politicians or whoever with big large platforms saying stuff, and then people are responding to that, saying stuff, and there's evidence, and you can't deny this is not evidence. It's not. You're telling me there's not people in reply saying you should shoot. I've been told that I should get shot on the street for protesting. Stuff like this. This is inciting violence. Because then the next person who sees it, we don't know what their mindset is. We don't know how they're going to think. What's then end up shooting?
It's not inciting violence.
It's not inciting violence. But someone said that.
Well, let me give you the example. If somebody says to you, hang on.
Clarify this first.
No.
You don't think it's violence if someone says he should be shot on the street? It's not inciting violence.
Now you've changed it. Now let me explain it. Let me explain what you changed. What you first said was somebody says to me, you should be shot.
On the street.
That's just an opinion. You're on the street, and they just say you should be shot.
So what someone sees me on the street?
Right. Hold on. This is an individual person saying something to you. If somebody says that, you're adding other stuff in. If that person instead says to a different group, see this person, someone should shoot him. That's incitement to violence.
So a comment section that has, again, the world is changing. A lot of stuff happens online rather than in person. I'm not going to talk to a group of people. That's not how it's going to happen. It's going to happen when you're saying online. And you know, so many people that get arrested for crimes, for killing people, a lot of them have digital footprints that prove that they've said this online and they were egged on by a community. Right? This is the thing. They have communities. They have these dark web chats that they have where they're talking about inciting this violence. It's not happening in person. It's happening on these chat rooms. It's happening where school shooters in America are having these chat rooms with people, telling them how they feel, and people are encouraging it. That's an incitement of violence. It's not happening in person. It's because me and you are not talking and you're saying this person should get shot. It's, we had that conversation online and the exact same method of inciting violence. Do you not agree with that?
You just said a load of stuff so fast that I couldn't actually capture a lot of it. I didn't know what you were saying. I'm happy to keep quiet and listen, but I have to be able to hear it. So
I'm saying, you've seen like a lot of chat rooms online. Sorry, a lot of times where people have been in chat rooms talking about how they want to kill this group of people or kill this person, or I want to kill my teacher. They've said this, right? It's happened online, and the community they have online are then encouraging it and having these conversations, facilitating these conversations. Is that not the exact method of inciting violence that would happen if you were talking to people saying, I want to shoot this person? What difference?
I think it is different. I think it is different. I think an individual going up and just emotionally saying something is just an opinion. It's if somebody has a platform where they are inciting other people in order that something happens to that person.
So like Ryan Ferguson, for example, when he was like, white people are going extinct and writing people up, that's what he's tweeting, right?
Who's this?
Ryan Ferguson.
I can agree Ryan is a bit expressive in ways that I would not agree with. And in some ways it might end up as insightful. And he will have to deal with that if somebody determines that.
That's an incitement of violence.
If somebody higher up determines it, he will then have to deal with the consequences, yes. I don't have a problem with him having to deal with consequences if somebody determines we think he's inciting, then it goes through a system.
So my question is, would you agree that he's then inciting violence on social media?
I think he gets close to the knuckle, but I'm not an expert on inciting. I'm not an expert on inciting. So I don't know, and I don't get to make the decisions. But if he ends up arrested or whatever because of it, I'm not going to say anything about it other than he's been arrested. It's like, I can't hear now. I'll speak to you again sometime soon. Thank you very much. It's been really useful. They've come back. So they've come back from their stuff and they've decided that these people are Nazis. What is going on here? They've been riled up. They've been riled up, all emotional on their march. And now they've come to antagonise. Now they've come to confront. Look at this. This is the impact of having these marches. All these emotional people are unable to control themselves. And now they want to fight. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Well, they've been riled up emotionally on their march. Now they're back here. They're all emotionally up here, and they've got a pain in the arse inciting everybody. And they were doing really well before, just being quiet. Absolutely unbelievable. And they're listening to the testimonies of people brilliantly. I cannot believe that they did this. I'm going with the PAG group.
Alright, we've literally just put a police line to this room, that's all.
Oh no, I'm an independent media that is, I've been chatting. Unfucking believable. I cannot believe that they have done this. I don't believe it.
It wasn't. It was brilliant. It was drama. And I'm still carrying it. Let me ask those people something. Imagine your own son or daughter, your niece or nephew, working with a knot.
And do you believe that please allow people from this way?
Expected humiliation.
They've run up there quickly to do it. Thank you.
Then ask yourself who you want to be now. Last February, when I was navigating a safeguarding issue at Tameside College, everything came crashing back. It was deeply traumatic. I experienced suicidal thoughts. I don't share this for sympathy. I share it because silence nearly killed me. And because what survivors carry is serious, complex, and often invisible, survivors need to be heard, believed, and protected. Since then, I've come in contact with charities, and their support has helped me tremendously.
I can't believe this. I am astonished. I'm absolutely astonished at this. I'm astonished at the lack of thinking. I'm astonished at I don't even have the words. I want to see these people flattened. I really do. I can't believe that they've done this. Who are they fighting against?
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Who precisely are you fighting against here? Who do you think you're fighting against here? What are you doing? What are you doing? This is crazy. You're lunatics. understand why the fuck you're here. Before this, before you came back from your emotional fucking march, you'd stayed up there, turned your back brilliantly, ignored it. And this lot are now against rape victims. That's what these people are, rape victims. They're giving their testimony. What the fuck is going on here? These people, and you're aligned with them. You're aligned with them. These people are supporting rapists by going against rape victims. It's fucking nuts. Absolutely nuts. What bias?
The people that are there are the same people that pretty much.
But you did brilliantly earlier on. They may be the same people, but you turned your backs earlier and you stayed over there. They've really riled me, I'm afraid. Really, really riled me. I don't get it. They've fucking riled me up. Fucking unbelievable.
The establishment's continued denial of the existence of rape gangs in the UK.
They are pro-rapist.
Field inquiry
Well, one of the lads that was speaking, then he called me
faltering and stuttering and hasn't got off the ground. It's literally achieved nothing. They don't know what to do.
I need to get
They've
away
already
from
got
those
the
nutters.
evidence, the substantial evidence. It's documented massively. And yet here we are, relying on the public with petitions, begging the authorities and the established powers of this land to acknowledge that there is a crisis and that children have been historically exploited and are still being exploited on an industrial scale. The UK has become the embarrassment of the civilised world, led by a government who have got their heads so far in the trough, they've got no interest in acknowledging the children that have been exploited and been failed.
In with that atom, with a nerve to smash the face in with each other.
He's a nutter. He's a local nutter. Don't worry about it. He won't do anything.
The children were systematically abused for decades. Time and time again, lives, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives ruined by systemic abuse while in the care system. It's one of the greatest failures of the UK, and it's still not been acknowledged the way that it should be acknowledged. It's a massive, gross failure, and the leader of this country should hang his head in shame for not taking the bull by the horns and throwing every single pound and every single asset that he has at his disposal into bringing this to an end once and for all and ensuring the safety of children. And you've got Billy, who's been campaigning for 20 years and has barely got a following in the UK. Now, what is interesting to know is that the amount of people here today is literally dwarfed by the number of police officers present. That tells you all you have to know about the normalisation of abuse in society. When people don't even turn up because they've normalised it that much, because they read about it every single day on every single platform, and it doesn't shock anybody anymore. It's got no shock factor. Children being raped time and time again, some of them hundreds of times, documented with the National Crime Agency. And there's what, a few dozen people here today. There's not even 100 people present. There's more police officers. And there's a march over there. I won't say what it's in aid of, but there's way more people over there for something that doesn't even have any substance in this country. It's happening out with the UK, but we can't even address the failings that we're here for today. We've got a few dozen people present. Friends of mine went to Braintree today to protest from Scotland, and I said, I'm going to Leeds. This is the priority. This is the priority because we're still swirling our feet in the mud, working out how to conduct an inquiry that's going to cost tens of millions of pounds and achieve absolutely nothing. We don't need an inquiry. We've got all the evidence we'll ever need. We've got all the witness testimony that we'll ever need. We don't need to spend tens of millions of pounds on inquiries. We need to spend tens of millions of pounds implementing safeguarding for children in institutions and young kids in socially deprived demographics all over the UK that are being failed by policing, and the people that are empowered with their safeguarding that are not implementing it, that are failing every single day in the dereliction of their duty in public office, paid huge salaries and achieving absolutely nothing. The child protection team that I've founded's grown arms and legs, and the further down the rabbit hole I go, the more my head is completely blown by what I find. Tens of dozens of documented operations into regional organised grooming gangs, and nobody wants to acknowledge who's behind it, and everybody wants to throw hate and racial slander to anybody who addresses it. If you're scared of slander, you've came to the wrong party today. Don't ever be scared to be called out for something that you feel strongly about. Don't ever be scared to call it exactly what it is. So, I have to say something. LEEDS, I'm disappointed in you today for the numbers present, but I'm hugely respectful of the people that came here today. Now, we have relatively small numbers in social media considering the volume of people that saw it. I hope today by posting and sharing that there will be some more people here. I didn't know I was going to speak until Billy told me earlier on the way down. I'll always speak up for what I believe in, regardless of the hate and the slander and the malicious crap that gets thrown at me. I don't give a shit about that. I care about what's right, and if I can make a difference, I'm going to make a difference. Because if you look the other way, you're part of the problem. If you choose to walk by here and read these banners, and you can clearly say that it mentions grooming gangs, that it mentions exploitation, that it mentions sexual abuse, and you continue walking because you're out shopping and you're going for a coffee and you can't stop for 10 minutes and show support, you're part of the problem. By default, you become complicit when you look the other way. It's time the people of the UK stood together, put religion aside, put hate aside, put football aside, put all the crap that indoctrinates and divides to one side and stand together once and for all and address our failing government for their negligence. If a few members of the Labour Party and those in power were the very last people on earth and I had to team up with them to keep myself alive, I would stand myself. I wouldn't rely on them, because if they can't protect children, what are they going to do for me? Right? So I look around here at survivors and I only have to look at their faces, and I'll never forget Nadim's speech. I'll never forget that. And I'm still trying to keep my emotions in check, and I'm still trying to process what he said. Very, very brave man. You get the pink ladies. But look at the crowd, guys, look around you. Hugely disappointing numbers. But we won't be silenced. We'll continue to address it, and we'll continue to stand opposed to the failures in government and the way that they're still dragging their heels and calling this inquiry. You know, it gets a little bit of press coverage, but it's already losing its momentum. Why? Because they cannot acknowledge the truth. And I'll tell you quickly why. In order to conduct an inquiry forensically, they would have to criminally indict half of the civil service in this country that look the other way, while on expenses, while on salaries. This is not addressed at all police officers. It's well documented that many police officers look the other way and failed in their duties. There are thousands of good police officers in the UK, and there's some bad apples, the same as every walk of life, in every occupation. In order to conduct this inquiry properly, you would have to indict retired officers, pensioned up to the max, social workers, half the social services, all of the caseworkers, everybody from the justice system down to the bottom rung of the ladder, and you would have to put them all in a dock and take them all through trial. And I'm talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of people over a 30-year period. If you ever think that they're going to do an inquiry that will put anyone in a dock, then you need to take your head for a you know what, because you're in cuckoo land if you think that. They're going to lie their way through this. They're going to fabricate an outcome. They're going to hide everything that they've always hidden. They're going to go over old ground and spend millions doing it, and continue along with the gravy train and keep the same people in the same jobs that failed you and failed your children while they collect their pensions. I could rhyme off dozens of names in this part of the world who continued in employment and gained their pensions while willfully neglecting their duty to protect the people they were empowered to do so. It's documented, you cannot lie, it can't be covered up, but they won't address it. So don't be fooled by all their nonsense that they're going to make a difference. The only people that make a difference is the people that have turned up here today. The public, the working classes, the people that don't have the power, but you've got a voice, use it. Okay? So, as much as we're slightly disappointed with the turnout, we're still here, we're still standing, and we'll still be heard. Listen guys, thanks for having me on here. There's other people here more important than me that have stuff to say. Thank you very much. Any work that you want, you know what I do, you'll find us on Facebook. We're Spartan Child Protection Team. Thanks guys, cheers.
Quickly chucking some stuff in there.
Alex has travelled all the way from Glasgow. The big ladies have come and done it. We need to grow this about not 100,000. That's only when they'll listen. Can't unite behind the children, we might as well fold our temps up and the country's done. Simple.
Well said, Chris. Chris Burrows and his partner Tammy and the rest of the crew at Northern Patriots have had my back for many a year now. They do a lot of work behind the scenes to make it possible for me to be able to come here and help stand with your children and other children across the UK. So a big thank you to Chris, Tammy and the team. So I've got a first time speaker coming up guys, and it's a really hard time for her to come up because she's never spoke before, so please give her again another warm welcome and a supportive cheer. Kelly Hector.
Go on, Kelly.
Once more time for Kelly.
Appreciate it. And it's like probably about 2 years ago. And I'd like to talk about my abuse. I was 4 years old when my predator started sexually abusing me. He was my stepdad, Barry Shaw. As you can see in the picture, he was at the time. At the age that he is now, he was 60. I was 4. He made me suck his cock forcefully, laid on top of me on the bed, and then pushed his penis in my vagina with his hand over my shoulders, and his penis in my bum until I was bleeding. The only person that knew was the school in Manchester at Cheetham Hill. I was born in Leeds, but I moved to Manchester at 3.5 years old. My mum was not aware of what was going on because her mind, she was classed as a special needs adult. The social services knew. The police didn't know until last July. Last July, 8th of July, I reported my abuser to West Yorkshire Police. And guess what they did, ladies and gentlemen? They sat on it for 4 weeks. Shame on you! And then transferred it to Greater Manchester Police for 2 detectives to come all the way from Manchester to Leeds to do a video interview. For 4 hours in that interview room I felt like a criminal. And I told the detectives I will stand in court and face that vermin. No man should ever, no father or stepfather or any human being should be allowed to touch a child. My mum was raped by him also to get 2 children. Them kids knew what I went through. They called me a liar. They called me a slag. They called me a prostitute. They called me everything under the sun. Well, I'll tell you something now. I am neither of them. I am a mother. I'm a wife. I'm a survivor. But today I am reclaiming my life back. And if there's any survivors out there, if you've reported it, please come forward either to the PAG team or myself. I am based in Leeds. You can get me on YouTube and TikTok. I'm on the Little Mac UTK. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, that's not easy. It's not easy to stand here and pull your heart out like that. God bless Kel. She's been looking up to this for quite some time. I'm absolutely proud as punch, as I am of Nadim, as I am of Kel. You can see the lady shaking. It's not easy. I've done this 20 years, I'm pro. I can do this without a piece of paper, without a speech. Some of these guys, you know, it's the first time and it's doing it in front of somebody. It's so daunting to do it in front of so many people. So again, one more time for Kelly. You have to bear with me a sec now because I'm really bad for missing out speaking.
You said you didn't have a list.
I definitely need a list for speakers, without a doubt.
Calm down now. You look fuming then, I think that's first
Yeah,
time
you just got me.
like
We've done the speakers, guys. The speakers there's a few letters down to do. Is there anybody
They suddenly had some stand up to racism asshole join their march, get everybody all emotionally up,
for everybody.
and then they decided to come along
so if
and
anyone's got anything they want to say,
scream
they can do now. If not, I'd like, yeah, you're welcome to speak regarding abuse, yeah, and all that. Yeah, of course, you're welcome.
I told him I went one of the lads who just spoke over there. I went, he's not right. I went,
Alexander Leo Robinson, ladies and gentlemen.
Sounds like a
he's South Asian.
Sounds like a
Good
South Asian
afternoon.
name, yeah.
PAG UK Leeds. I've not got much to say, but I am an activist in Keighley.
They're going about women's
I don't know
rights.
what's going on in their heads.
I've
I
been
don't
to
know.
But they're going about women's rights, Palestine Action, their lot, who they support, broke that woman coffers back with sledgehammer.
There was 3 survivors
I
of
don't
rape
like
gangs
police, but it
speaking
would
up
have
on the
mattered, didn't it?
stage.
No, wasn't it?
Yep.
He whacked her back
The
with
Keighley
but he only got charged with
constituency is
GBH.
quite
It should have been a
unusual
Section
in that we
18.
do have a
And then they
quite
got a
good
political jury, didn't they, to get them
who
off?
is speaking
Well,
up
they haven't got off
about
because they got a no
rape
verdict on
gangs.
that, but they got not guilty on aggravated burglary.
Like to
They got
say
no
that
guilty on some of it.
in the
On
question
aggravated
and answer,
burglary and rest
if we
with no
listen to
verdict.
The rest,
testimonies
yeah,
of
it's like,
the
what the
survivors
fuck?
in the question and answer.
Politically
I
And these people are
asked them,
complaining about the proscription of
why
Palestine
are
Action.
these
I just had an
gang
argument with them
rapists being
about,
put
hey,
on death row?
Do you remember
Palestine
Why are
Action,
they
if
not-
it just used
Why are
words,
they not
Fair enough.
Fair
We're
enough,
not bringing
but it
back the
didn't.
death
It
penalty.
did criminal stuff.
And I
Do you
got a
remember
round
that
of
a few years
applause
ago with women,
from all
eco
the people
activists
in
with
the
hammer
hall
and chisel at
that
the bank
evening.
window, put it through £500,000 worth of damage, got a not guilty. They went not guilty.
And he responded
And they got
by
found not
saying
guilty
that,
when they stood
well,
there on camera
there's a
smiling,
gang
putting windows
rapist
through with hammer and
who
chisel.
fled to Pakistan.
And then BLM rioters
And
got let off
yeah,
in Bristol
okay,
because
he's got
they
a
said that
point,
they didn't
but
think
the
that
thing is,
people of Bristol had demanded
like,
and
the thing is,
ripped
there's
statue
two
down and
points,
thrown it in
really.
the river. It's ridiculous.
We need
Could you imagine
to
if we did
protect
that?
our borders and
Be in
obviously
jail
stop
for
criminals
years.
Well,
fleeing
could you
the
imagine
country
if you went
and
up
bring them
and
to
stopped
justice
them
as well
from
as
doing
stopping
it?
criminals
Oh yeah,
coming into the country.
well, I was
need to
seriously getting
establish
close to ripping my
border
car out of her hand when I went
control
over
with
to
the
try
next
to tell her it's
government
like,
I'm not
in
surprised.
2029.
but I just thought
The
I'll end
other
up having to
point
fight
is-
with police.
Yeah.
And that's what
Really?
happened.
What I raised
But
up was the
she
fact
just
that
wasn't
the
listening.
Bible
She's an ideologist
tells us that
who's just got
paedophiles
this thing in her head.
should have
Fucking madness.
So there's an ambulance going by. That paedophiles should have a piece of stone put around their foot and dropped into the bottom of the sea. And that is what the Bible says about paedophiles.
Kelly.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I am an activist with the UK Independence Party. It is a Christian nationalist party under the leadership of Nick Tenconi. And I believe that Christian morality needs to be put back into the heart of government. And when we do have Christian MPs put into Parliament, whether that's UKIP MPs, Restore Britain MPs, Christian MPs put into Parliament, we will get a referendum on the death penalty, we will have control over our borders, and we will deport every single illegal migrant back to where they come from. As well as many different criminals, if we don't kill many of the gang rapists, we will deport them, and we will deport many of the people who are covering up for gang rapes as well. And there's a variety of other people who want to deport. We want to deport families with first cousin marriages that produce retarded children. We want to deport multiple wife marriages. We want to put an end to practices that are against our Christian heritage and culture. And our, yeah. So you're only going to get this if you actually support the UK Independence Party, the only Christian nationalist party with any real credibility, with Nick Tenconi. Please take some time to listen to Tenconi Talks as well. Tenconi Talks is a devout Catholic, and we also have an Anglican spokesman called Calvin Robertson, who speaks on the Tenconi Talks. He's well worth listening to. He's really deep in my understanding, experience, and my resolve to continue to work hard to be an activist, not just in Leeds, in Keighley as well. I'm an activist throughout the Keighley and Ilkley constituency, and I'm getting prepared and building a team for the next general election, because we really need our own people in Parliament to actually get this stopped and get this reversed. We need our own people in Parliament. I think in my opinion, what we need is a coalition, like a pact between the UK Independence Party, Nick Tenconi, and the Restore Britain Party, Rupert Lowe. And we need to outright win the next election, because Reform are fake, Farage is fake, Farage is a fraud, he flip-flops. If he ever got into government, God forbid, he would do more U-turns than Labour. That's the truth. He's a centrist. He pretends to be right-wing to appeal to a core of voters, but in reality, he's a centrist, an opportunist. He's only out there. You can buy his words. You can write a script and tell him to say whatever you want him to do, and that includes recently the real far right, who actually name-checked themselves in a speech done by Nigel Farage, and he does this for money. He does everything for money, easy money. That's what Farage has always been about, easy money and power. And I'm telling you something else as well now. Nigel Farage has never wanted to be Prime Minister. Don't let him lie about that as well. He wants his mate Mohammed Yusuf to become Prime Minister. God forbid.
And this is the usual
So, yeah.
infighting. The
He
infighting
said the left are going to cheer me in a minute.
within
yeah, so
within
please
the
get
fucking
involved
right
in
wing,
website,
or whatever wing you want to call it.
And please become a member.
And it's essentially a bunch of egos. There's two egos, Rupert Lowe and Nigel Farage,
And really the two.
and they're sending their flying monkeys out who think it's really important to slag the other one off that they don't like.
Like Paul Burgess
It's fucking nuts.
Resigned from being a college member. Of
These
the Massive
people
Leagues.
need
It's
to
a fraud.
realise that
It's
there is
bullshit.
one
It's just
fight,
a
and that is to save the country.
So ignore them.
And when you've got
Genuine
people who are
Christians,
going,
that's
oh,
what
that
we
other
need.
person's
To
just
get
really,
that
really
genuine
bad.
you
No,
could
the person
become
you're
active in
supporting
your
is
local
really,
area,
really bad.
network in your local area, get
Fucking
phone number,
assholes. I
build
mean,
it,
it's bloody
WhatsApp it,
stupid, all of it.
and messages turned off. And organise, like, little events
And this
like
is the Leeds Town Hall.
little events in Leeds, getting people together to protest. We've done this in
Those are the
Leeds.
lions on the steps. I've no idea why it's taking 2 years for Kia and your build to actually do whatever it is that they're doing.
Towards white people, the threats and the racism of some of Pakistani people in Keighley, around the bus station in Keighley. And I have, in my YouTube channel, I've uploaded that to YouTube. I was a white bastard in the bus station by a Pakistani who followed me in. I was about to leave. You know, so this is the attitude, and there's a lot of confusion with some of the English people as well about what's going on. So that's what I'm doing. I'm raising awareness. I've done peace demos. I'm against the war in Ukraine. I've done peace demos as well as more to come that this year in the Cleveland constituency. But again, thank you again to Billy Howarth in the PAG UK team. And he's right. He's right. I mean, how many years? 50 or so, yeah. There need to be hundreds. We need to have hundreds of people coming to PAG UK Leeds. We need to network, spread the word, put posters up, and spread the word. Get people to come here and support PAG UK and give the support to these survivors of the rape gangs in the care homes. Thank you very much.
Today's part of political broadcast was brought to you by I'm independent, so vote for Billy Independent. That's where I'll be standing. I'm not a party man, I'm a Rochdale man who stands for the ward and for my people. So before we all go, before we call it a day, the inquiry that you're waiting for, the inquiry you've waited so many years for, let me just tell you, this inquiry is not to prosecute individuals or to determine civil or criminal liability. Then what the fuck is it for? It's a waste of time. It's 3 years, £56 million for you to tell you at the end, lessons were learned. The same thing they've been telling us for the last 20 years. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody. God bless you, God bless Leeds, and God bless the United Kingdom. Thank you. To the pub and have a drink. Oh, no, sorry, don't go yet. Whoa. Pick ladies one more time and she'll finish off at the end of this, so give her a nice warm welcome.
Right, just a little bit of information about our safety packs that we hand out. These safety packs are a lifeline, but they are not something you must rely on 100%. Your awareness, your instincts, and your choices are always your strongest protection. When you're heading home, plan a route. Avoid walking alone if you can. If you must, choose a route that you know well. And listen, do not wear AirPods or headphones. You need every sense switched on. Do not walk with your head down, looking at your phone. Predators look for distraction. Keep your head up and stay alert and stay aware. If at any moment you feel unsafe, knock on a door, go somewhere public, or call 999 immediately. Do not hesitate. Don't second guess yourself. Even if you're wrong, your safety matters. Every pack includes a safety personal alarm. Learn how it works. Check it regularly. Replace the batteries or recharge it. When you're walking home, keep it in your hand, not at the bottom of your handbag. The alarm will not stop an attacker, but it may startle them enough so it gives you time to get away. You will need those vital seconds. If you feel that you are unsafe and someone has tried to attack you, get to a safe place and call the police. You might have got away, but the next lady may not. We also strongly encourage you to consider carrying legal personal safety spray. Some sprays can cause irritation of the eyes and leave a visible marker that will stay on their faces for up to 7 days, which will then make them more easily identified by the police. Once again, if you've had to use the spray, call the police straight away. Also in your packs you will find anti-spiking kits, a drink cover and a bottle stop. Spiking is tragically common and part of modern party scene now. So to help reduce risk, stay alert, look out for each other. This is just as important as your safety tools. Every pack includes a safety leaflet. Read it. Keep it somewhere safe. Keep it on your mirror, on your fridge or in the hallway. These reminders matter. These packs are more than tools. They are conversations. Conversations that every family should be having with their women and especially young girls. Every pack matters. Every conversation matters. Every life matters. Every woman we wake up to the reality of the danger is one more woman who might avoid trauma, violence and devastation. We are the sisterhood, we are the warning, and we are the community that refuse to look away. Now if anybody would like one of our packs, just come and see me.
For your daughter, your granddaughter, your mum, your nan, your dad, your sister, your brother, come and get one, because they do save lives. They do save lives. Thank you, Teresa. Okay, guys, that is it.
What's
so
interesting about that?
On the 25th, it'll be a 2 o'clock start, and it'll be at the town hall. The 25th.
What was interesting about that little speech by the Pink Ladies is it's the same thing for our country. It's the same thing. We need to protect our country. We need to defend it. We need to defend our people. What she was talking about was from an individual level up to a community level. I'm going from a community level to a county level to a country level. It's the same principle. If we've got open borders, then it's not safe. Right, I think that looks like it is it today. So I'm going to sign out. Thank you very much, everybody. Thanks for watching. And I hear a lot of shit happened in Liverpool, so I might go and watch some of that. Cheers, everybody. I'll speak to you soon.
Well done for covering it. Good man. Thank you.